Okay, thank you guys for coming. Just before we get started, we'll go through and just introduce ourselves. Christy Tatman.
Jessica Purefoy.
Lauren Breckhart.
Lauren Boone.
Courtney Hollenquist.
Awesome. So we have just a mixture of some admin here, new to our campus, and ones that have been here. We have parents and some other support staff. So the purpose of our meeting today is to talk about some mission, what a mission and vision is, and like how we might could write a statement for our school. Okay. So we're just going to respect each other's time. I know that this meeting is kind of inconvenient for everyone, but all meetings are, right? So we want to talk about mission and vision and just stay focused on the meeting. And if you disagree with something, you can disagree with an idea, but not with the person, if that makes sense. So we might disagree with and have different opinions, but we'll just remain respectful in our communication. So we're going to jump in with vision and mission. So our vision is how we see our school. Okay, our vision is like if we think of our school down the road a little bit, what would it look like, sound like, what would be happening in our school? And our mission is really our purpose. Like, why are we here at East Elementary? Okay, so I know that sounds very broad right now, but we're going to kind of break down. If we know what our if we know kind of what we believe, that will help guide our vision and mission, right? So in front of you, you have your core beliefs, and we're just going to talk through that. So number one, what do we think a school should teach? And you can think from your parent brain as much as your professional brain too, because I know that all of us wear both hats in this school. But what do we think that schools should teach? What's our core belief that we think schools should teach? Yeah.
I absolutely think that communication skills from student to student is super important. It sometimes is, we just assume students know how to communicate and we don't intentionally teach how they should communicate. And that's like the number one thing that work places look for is if they're able to communicate. So that's a big one for me.
So part of what I hear is that you think we should prepare students for the future.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
eventually these kids will,
Yes.
they will grow up. Okay.
I think we should teach the whole child. There's more to just teaching reading and writing. Like you have to teach them all the things that go along with that. How to be a good friend, how to be a good listener,
Okay.
all the things that go into it.
Mhm.
So some social skills too, some life skills, things that'll carry them through life. Okay, so a good school. If you think of a good school, one you would want to work at, one you want your kids to go to, what is a good school? What would define a good school? And I think for me, a lot of what I wrote is that it is beyond just academics for me. There's so much more to a school than academics. It's the feel that you get when you walk in. It's knowing that the staff cares. Your kid's not just a test score or a name, but they are looking at that whole child again.
Mhm.
I mean, I think also when they all feel included, every child is included. Like you said, everyone is cared for and,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the whole child.
Mhm.
Yeah, because parents trust us with their kids and they want to know that we see them, meet their needs, all of the
Mhm.
things.
And building a relationship too with the parents as well, like so that you know that little Johnny does go with this mom, you know. And
So I'm going to write down that parents are welcomed,
Mhm.
heard,
Yes.
included, because that is, especially elementary school, like we really have to remember that the relationship is different than maybe at other levels. So it matters what parents think for sure.
Mhm.
That's why I was telling y'all we had a parent that complimented our receptionist the other day, and it's a parent that goes into a lot of schools for her job, and she said that is so incredibly important because that's the first and maybe the only person that a lot of parents see, and that how great of a job she was doing at welcoming and explaining things. And so, okay, a successful student is able to. Whew. So we have to think of like what success looks like for our students. So what could a successful student do? One thing I wrote is that they should be able to tell you what's happening in their classroom. Like, that seems obvious, but if you walked in and said, "What are you doing today?" they should kind of understand their learning objectives to a degree, even if their language is a little different.
Right. I think, most children, 99.9%, are able to learn how to read. And if they don't know how to learn how to read, like that can, really hurt them in their future, in their job, whatever job it may be. So be in the process of learning how to read or engaging in those reading skills, even if at certain times it's below grade level expectations, to fill in those gaps. But a successful student definitely needs to be in the process of learning to read or already reading fluently.
And that's where appropriate supports would come in if they're struggling.
Mm-hmm. What do you
And
mean
they-
by appropriate supports?
Do they need extra help? Do they need modified curriculum? Like, what is it that's specific to that child that is gonna help them be successful?
Mm-hmm. In the past few years, there's been a lot of talk about content language supports really helping a student. Do you know much about that?
I think it's very beneficial for students that struggle with reading. It gives them a little, if nothing else, it gives them a little boost of confidence. If they see a whole passage and they don't immediately get overwhelmed, they can hover over the little supports, and it just helps them break it down and gives them the confidence that they need.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with
So to
that, too.
piggyback on that, then I think that a successful student would be someone who like knows how to use those
Correct.
tools that are given to them, because if they don't adequately know how to use those tools, they're not going to be successful.
Yeah, we can't just
Absolutely.
assume that because it's in their IEP or 504 plan, or they get it through MTSS, that they know how to use it.
Right.
We have to intentionally teach them how to use it. This is what you're going to do when you run across this.
We had that conversation with second grade recently because they're transitioning to their online testing through DMAC, and it's practicing, but it's explicit instruction on how to use like all the tools on there, the highlighters, click this, that, like you have to show, and then also hold them accountable too. And the accountability is from a part of making sure they know how to do it.
Right.
So if they didn't do it, come here, let's find out why you didn't do it. See what they need to do. Awesome. Okay, so an effective classroom is one in which
Safety above all else.
Safety.
Emotional safety. They feel physically safe. They feel safe to be wrong, safe to make mistakes, safe to take chances, safe that they're not going to say something and others make fun of them. Just so many different definitions of safe, but that kind of embodies
Yeah.
it.
We saw an example last week in our T-test certification training, and at the end of the lesson, the teacher said, "Okay, I want to see your fingers for how you felt." And it was a 5 was like I felt really confident, and a 1 was not at all, and they all did different. And then she called them out. She said, "You have one finger. Why do you have one finger?" So she told him to do that, and then she called him out for only having the one finger. And so everybody, we had that conversation that is that child going to feel safe next time to admit that they're struggling? So. And then if they don't feel
Maybe
safe
just to make a
admit it.
note of it
Mhm.
to come back to individually and not be called out in front of everyone.
And that goes back to
Makes a
building
big difference.
relationships too.
Building the relationships. All right. A good school staff member is one who I always think
Kids first.
puts kids first. That's probably the right answer. I was like, do what you say and say what you do. Let's follow through. But yeah, put kids first, because if we put kids first, then
Everything else kind of falls into
Mhm.
place. Yeah, we have to communicate with each other, respect each other, have an open mind. And when you have an issue or a problem arises, because they're going to, try to think through some possible solutions. When you go to talk to that person or that coworker about it, and all that, is under the umbrella of, we're in the business of taking care of kids and growing kids academically and
presume
emotionally,
positive
emotionally.
intent.
Yes, definitely. You can do
Yeah.
that.
We have to be good models for them too,
Yeah.
so we can do it. An effective school faculty is one that, so think down to our teachers, like as a whole group of teachers. Our group of teachers that are effective are, it's very similar to the last question. So this more academic.
Yeah.
Academic.
I think that all comes from like collaboration.
Yeah.
We're a professional learning community, and we, we're learning something new every day, and we have to model that for kids. Like, we want them to learn every day. We want to learn and grow every day. So that collaboration between teachers and
Observing other teachers, like finding
Yes.
areas that you can grow in as a teacher,
Yeah.
like constantly wanting to get better.
Yeah, and getting ideas and coming together and common planning and all of those kinds of things.
All right, last one, and then we'll move to the next section of the meeting, but thinking about a quality instructional program. So all the academics of our school, take the people out and just think of the program part. And we're kind of getting closer to where not having as many choices because we have our HQIM coming and rolling out. But what should our program include? Like what would we invest in as a program? We want to see a program that has, I put, first of all, it has to be TEKS aligned and standards aligned. I mean, we can't just pick what's fluffy or fun or cute, or we've been making that change. I put state standards aligned to teach those to proficiency. I also said it includes leadership. Does include leadership, but we would definitely, looking down the road towards our vision, we would want to keep that, right? It's not something we'd want to let go of. Anything else?
I think it's always good to have a program that includes those like question 3 and 4 kids and the professional learning community questions we go through. And question 3 is, what are we going to do if the kid doesn't know it, if the kid can't master it? So for a program to have some of those intervention supports, and then what are we going to do for the kid who already knows it? We don't want them to sit there and be bored and start misbehaving, because that's when then that happens. They need to have some extension or some type of activities for them to be able to do. I always say go deeper in the TEKS, not wider.
Not wider. But would you agree that in order to have that, your master schedule makes a big difference?
Oh, yes.
Master
yes,
schedule.
It's
So,
huge.
I guess that would be part of the instructional program too, is your schedule, because if you, we now have prime time or what I need time, and before when we didn't have that, our instruction was being interrupted and people were grabbing kids whenever with the best of intent, but now our focus time is really protected. Our focus tier 1 instruction is protected. So I think that that's important, and our master schedule has a lot to do with how successful we are academically as a campus. I think
Absolutely.
that just rolls and plays in there. All right, if you guys will flip. Now, what we're going to be thinking about is what we want our school to look like for the next 5 to 10 years. And I know we all love our school and we're on a really good track, but if we could kind of envision what it looks like a few years down the road, that's where we want to go. What we want to see, hear, or feel in our school that would help us be a high-performing school. So let's think about our culture, which is the personality of the school, what we value and what we celebrate, what's rewarded, how people interact, and how they grow. So we kind of already said a little bit of that. We talked about in 5 to 10 years, would we still want to have professional learning communities to where we meet as teams and we talk through our plans and we collaborate, and you get ideas and I get ideas, and when my kids don't know how to do something, I ask you and you help me and we share kids?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think that is definitely something that I hope that we can get better in is, we are trying really hard to say our students, but there's the pockets of, I'm just worried about the kids in my classroom, and we
Sometimes
really
it's hard
want
to-
to, and it is, it's
Yeah.
hard, but that they're really good at teaching this, and so I'm gonna have a kid go, and have that trust with another teacher that they're gonna be able to explain it in a way that I might can't. And sharing kids, especially during prime time, are what I need, being very specific in what does each individual child need. And that might look like going to a different classroom during that time, so.
One thing I wrote, and you guys can just tell me if you agree or not, but I said that personal growth, so like think about your staff members having personal growth and risk-taking, trying new things. I hope 5 to 10 years from now that is even more celebrated and looked at as a good thing on our campus. Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes it can
definitely
feel
is.
like, what's she doing now?
Mhm.
Or like that one's just always putting in extra or whatever. And I know sometimes when we're tired, we can feel that way when we see someone else that maybe is thriving a little bit more. But to be able to celebrate each other and like just lift each other up, like, wow, Burkhart, how did you get that idea? That's amazing. Your kids are loving that. I would love to learn about that. To
And
hear
not
conversations
feel
like that.
Not feel threatened, but to celebrate it, absolutely.
Yeah, those are kind of things I want to hear, because I was thinking like see, hear, or feel safe, like for the staff to vulnerable
Take
to say when they
risks,
need
yeah.
help, and to take risk and not feel like
Yes.
that shaming of like you're
Yes.
overdoing it and making us look bad or
There was a
whatever. It
second
goes
grade
both ways.
teacher the other day in common planning, and after looking at her math data, it was very much like, oh, can you come in and model for me, to one of the instructional coaches, and I immediately gave her a high five and was like, that's awesome, like, that's what we want.
She wanted the coach to come in, and
Yes.
she wanted to grow and get bigger. That's
Mhm.
funny, because the next thing I said is I want people to be hungry for learning and improving their craft.
Mhm.
That's what I'd
Mhm.
love to see. All right, what about curriculum? In the next 5 to 10 years, our vision of curriculum. It's interesting because it will be different. I put that it can be, like, when we change our curriculum, it can be really hard on staff.
Mhm.
It's hard because it's new, it requires more work, it might be confusing at first. So what I set the vision for, we started having instructional coaching on our campus a little bit last year, and this year we have several instructional coaches. So I said a vision in the next few years would be that when we have to have all these curriculum changes, or maybe that we feel like we're overwhelmed with curriculum, that we have people to go to that have already led the way, have gone through the curriculum ahead of us, and are in front of us. What do you guys think about that?
Yes, yes, and they do kind of that pre-work, legwork to be somebody that we can go to, you know, and them kind of be the experts in it. Because, we want to follow the curriculum, we have to.
Yeah.
It's what's best for kids too, because, it's equitable. We want to know that every kid is being exposed to the TEKS and the standards, and, but it is really nice that the instructional coaches are, and not nice, but helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels very supportive that they're able to come in